Political commentator Chris Cillizza, host of So What with Chris Cillizza over on YouTube. Chris, good morning to you.
Hey, Markie.
Trump is in a unique situation, right? I mean, he's been here before. It's his final term. He's talking to Republican majorities in the House and Senate, and he's offering a much different playbook than Biden did. So what does your crystal ball tell you about tonight?
Well, you know what's so interesting, Markie, is he's been president for 42-ish days, let's call it. He hasn't really interacted with Congress much during that time, even though, as you rightly point out, it's a Republican majority in the Senate and the House. What he's done so far is consolidate as much power as possible in the executive branch, and by nature of that, take some power away from the legislative branch. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what he asks of Congress, what he asks them to do, because that's typically what this speech does. It's kind of a laundry list of, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. You know, I said the word traditionally, and then we say the word Trump, and that's always where we get into a little bit of a danger, because he doesn't do things traditionally, never has. So I don't know that that's what this speech will be, but typically that's what presidents do in it.
He will no doubt take a big victory lap tonight and tout all the successes, so far in his administration. I'm thinking, first and foremost, probably immigration. At the end of the evening, what will he have had to have done for it to be a success for him?
Well, he'll probably declare success no matter what, as will Republicans. By the way, that's not unique to Donald Trump. Any president who gives a speech like this, the people on their side in Congress will say, one of the best addresses ever. I mean, that's just where we are in politics. What I'm sort of interested in is actually, and I know it's hard because Trump takes up so much oxygen, Markie, but I'm kind of interested in Democrats. This is the speech every year where there's a lot of focus on the audience, right? Who's cheering? Who's sitting on their hands? Yep. Who's applauding? Who's not? And Democrats are in kind of an odd spot in that I don't know that they know exactly how to react to Trump. There are people who say we should walk out, we should protest, we should full resistance at all times. And then there are people who are like John Fetterman of Pennsylvania who's saying, look, that didn't work. We should try something else. Are there things Donald Trump says that get some Democratic applause? Like how do Democrats, we know what Donald Trump's going to do. By this point, if you don't know what Donald Trump's going to do, you haven't been paying attention, right? In terms of speaking. How Democrats react is a little bit, to me, more unpredictable and therefore more interesting.
Yeah, and that'll be the interesting part to watch Senator Alyssa Slotkin, right, give the Democrat address and navigate that tone and that message after the American people just decisively handed a win and a mandate to Donald Trump. So what are you expecting from her?
Well, look, her choice, I think, is telling, right? Picking her, a moderate, right? She's a moderate in the House, ran as a moderate in Michigan, won a swing state that Donald Trump won at the presidential level. She won at the Senate level. A woman, much younger. She's in her 40s, much younger than a lot of the Democratic leadership. So a lot of times, Markie, with this response speech, the most important thing that the party is doing, the party out of power is doing, is sort of sending a message in who they pick. I'll be honest, not that many of these speeches are terribly memorable, these response speeches, and the ones that are usually memorable for the wrong reasons. Marco Rubio grabbing for water off camera and chugging it because he had dry mouth. Bobby Jindal doing that weird walking down the stairs thing in the governor's mansion. So you kind of don't want to be remembered for this speech. It's, okay, we're putting a moderate, young woman from the Midwest,
who was one of the rare bright spots for Democrats.
Right, in that slot. Yeah. That's sort of, that's the message they're trying to send. I'm not sure that they expect a whole lot of people to remember. Remember in 2025 when Alyssa Slotkin said fill in the blank thing, right? It's more about, this is a face of the Democratic Party that you may be a little unfamiliar with and a face they want to put forward.
I have to ask you one more really quick question. Elon Musk is going to be there, and also apparently Democrats have invited some of these fired federal workers to be in the audience as well. Does that set the stage for a really tense night, do you think? Or what do you think the mood and ambiance will be in the audience this evening?
Yeah, I'll go back to Democrats. I think the Democratic leadership is on pins and needles a little bit because, Markie, I think what they want is go there, show that you don't agree with some of Donald Trump's policies, and leave. The problem is not everybody sings off the same songbook.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.